Hey, hey, hey! It's that time again. It is Wednesday, and it's time for Mink Life Motivation Live. My name is Monica Henderson, and I am your pilot for this flight through expanding your health this week. I am so excited because we have a full show for you today, and to help me craft the conversation about expanding your health today, we are going to be chatting with, I don't know if this is, I just realized buttons are important. We are going to be expanding your health. And to help me craft that conversation about expanding your health, we have Andrea Gewirtz, who is the Wellness Drive Strategist with Wellbeing and Worth, Mink Life Motivation Master Trainer, and Dean of Mink Life University, and soon to be President of U University. Yes, I keep saying it. Welcome, Andrea.
Yes, you do. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of our listeners. You can, her and her quips about U University is on its way, but not as fast as Miss Monica Henderson would like. Let me stop. Oh, good Lord. But hey, I'm happy to be here. Talk about my favorite thing.
All right. And then we have our other co-host, Peggy MacArthur, who's going to hang out with us for a little while today. She is the owner and photographer of Headshots by Peggy. She is the headshot strategist and a Mink Life motivation trainer for the brand builder. Peggy, what's up, girl?
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. I missed hanging out with everybody last Wednesday, so it's fun to be back.
Awesome sauce. And we have Miss Yolanda Elam. She is the founder of Be Yourself Every Day. She is an educator, educational speaker, and a friend to the show. Welcome off your home couch and into the actual room with us.
We appreciate into the box of squares.
Yeah, I'm in my box, y'all. I'm in the box. Hey, y'all. Hey.
And joining us a little bit later today, we will have Melissa Deely. She is the CEO of Your Guided Health Journey. She's an integrative health practitioner and a registered coach. So she's going to be joining us later. But remember that in this show, the other co-host is you. You are so part of our journey. So if you are watching this live, or if you are watching this as a, replay, just hit hashtag live or hashtag replay and chime in on the conversation. And some of you have already started chiming in. So we have some people here who are chiming in. Hey, ladies. Oh yeah. Irina's in the house.
Hello from her couch.
Oh yeah. So love it. Keep it coming. Keep connecting with us and sharing your thoughts as we dive into this talk about health. And I know Irina on the couch is probably going to have lots to say about this topic. So since we all are familiar with each other, let's just dive right in today. I think instead of worrying about, fun facts and all that, we are going to really dive in to help you get motivated. Oh yeah. So as we're thinking about getting motivated, the question that I have for all of us is, why is redefining your health so important? I know when we talk about expanding your health, I really want us to think about it as in the process of expanding your health, you have to kind of redefine what health looks like for you. So why is this so important? And we're going to start with Yo, since she is fresh off the couch and in the room with us. Why is redefining your health so important?
Well, the reason why it's so important is, as we say a lot in the Mink Life world, health is wealth. And then let's say wealth. Oh, hey, what's up, girl? Welcome. You want me to keep going? Or you want to introduce yourself?
No.
Your health is your wealth. So just imagine that wealth could be those tangible items like being able to travel, spend money, and everything else. Well, if you're not at your healthiest, then you won't be able to enjoy it at its optimal. So your health truly is your wealth. Your health leads to your wealth. And as I like to say it, your body, which is where you carry all your health, your healthfulness, is your best friend. It's been with you from the beginning. It's going to be with you to the end and everything in between. So that's why redefining health is so important, because it is you.
That's right. So Melissa has joined us. We're so happy you're here.
Sorry, I'm new to I'm new to Restream. I was here all along. I didn't realize I had to enter myself from backstage. I thought you promoted me when you were ready for me. And then I was just trying to chat you to say, hey, I'm here. And then I ended up in the room.
The powers of live television and technology, guys.
Exactly.
I don't know. We've already introduced you, so the audience is familiar that you're going to be on the show today. Why don't you answer our question for the day, which is, why is redefining your health so important?
Well, I like to say that your health is your greatest asset. And in today's world, there's a lot of us that have been raised to believe that if we get sick, we go to the doctor and they give us a pill and we get better. But that's giving up our power to the doctor. It's not really taking true responsibility for our health ourselves, but also that's not looking at the full definition of health or wellness. And wellness is not just the absence of disease. Wellness is being able to thrive in all aspects of our lives. And when we understand that and redefine and take on that definition of wellness, we can step into taking responsibility for it. And when we recognize that it truly is our greatest asset, hopefully that motivates us to take those steps, because you can't raise a family, build your business, earn an income, live your passion if you're always sick or from your bed because you're trying to recover from something. So to me, it is the most important thing. And we start with our health.
Absolutely. I know that probably queued you right up, Andrea, so I'm going to throw it to you. Why is redefining your health so important?
I was just thinking to myself, I don't need to be here. Melissa's here. I can just go. So
we're just so well aligned, Andrea. I love it.
I know we are. Absolutely. And I'm like thinking, what could I add that Melissa didn't add? So I'm going to try. Not that I think I have like much to say, other than we've said health is wealth. Health is your best asset. And I'm going to further Yo's comment where she says it's all of you, and taking a look at the whole of you is really important to redefining health and wellness. I love what Melissa said about wellness is more than taking a pill and feeling better. It is so true, and unfortunately, I think the medical powers that be have robbed people of that agency to really clamor for a fuller vision of health. And unfortunately, when people finally clamor for that fuller vision of health and wellness, it's because they are no longer well. They're in a body that is being challenged by something, and they are having to build their base, their reserves up because something has been impaired in the foundation, and therefore their body isn't working in its optimal way. Mm-hmm. And so it's important, I think, and in particular, I want to talk to the women out here to understand your health and your body at every age. As a mother of 2 daughters, it really has occurred to me that it's one of my jobs as their mother to really teach them to cherish each stage of their body and to treat each stage of their body in a meaningful way that is age appropriate and hormonally appropriate, as someone who's on the other end really walking towards this post-menopause, menopausal era of her life. I wish people had given me more insight to cherish those hormones when I had them, because I sure do miss them now. And so that is really important. And so clinging and understanding and defining what health is foundational to you women in particular, living a full life, every era of that life. I've become ever more aware as I journey through this new phase that no one prepared me for, but I am studying hard, ladies, and I am going to have some information for you ready to go pretty soon, because I'll be damned, and I'm saying damned, that another woman without the eyes open, right? And so I just thank you. I got motivated. I got preaching. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. This is the Get Motivated segment. So Peggy, as you and I are the receiving end of the support and knowledge of these women who are all about health in their businesses, why do you think it's so important?
Well, as somebody that lives with a couple of chronic conditions, I used to believe that if I had these conditions, I wasn't ever going to be healthy, and that I couldn't have health because I have lymphedema, or I can't have health because I have kidney disease. These are things that I don't believe is true. I believe I am very healthy. But I also am very aware of my body. And I think redefining health, which is the question, is really redefining what that means. And I like what was said about, a lot of times we were raised to take a pill. You go to the doctor says take a pill, and you don't ever question it. And because of that, I have some conditions that were caused because I never questioned, and I just took the pill because that's what you're supposed to do. And your health should be, I'm not saying, there was a time I would have said, but I'm not saying don't listen to them. But I'm saying your health is your responsibility, and you should collaborate with other people that are more knowledgeable of how the body works and how science works. But bottom line, it's your body and your health. And when you take responsibility for that, and you think about what you eat, you think about your exercise, you think about the water that you drink, you think about all of those, and no matter what conditions you have in your body, you give your body what it needs to live its healthiest in the stage that it's at. That's what I think redefining health means. I feel like I'm a very healthy person. I'm very aware of what my blood work looks like. I'm very aware of what, all my conditions are. And I will look you with all honesty and say, I'm very healthy, because I know that I am giving my body the workarounds that it needs to continue to work properly. Because this body is amazing. I mean,
yes,
your body, when you get cut, it heals. Like when you get sick, it heals. Like, think your body is fighting to live every single moment. It's a freaking amazing machine that we're here on this earth with. So never underestimate it, and give it what it needs to work optimally. Even if you have a condition, don't think that you can never be healthy. You let your body figure its own workaround, because it will continue to operate and be healthy. And I feel like I'm a very healthy person.
Yes, you are very healthy. Well, that was our get inspired segment. We're done here, guys. No,
she's not here. We'll just replay that part because that was so on the money, Peggy. So happy.
Oh yeah,
I love what you said, Peggy. It's so much of our health also comes from our belief and our mindset and what we tell ourselves, right? And if we tell ourselves that, even with a condition, we can be healthy, we are healthy, and we take the steps to allow our body to, be the best that it can be, then that's amazing, versus being given a label and then walking away and focusing on the label and becoming that label, right? And how often does that happen? And,
more times than not.
Exactly. And I'm not a doctor, so I don't diagnose and I don't cure, but in my work, I help people discover their root cause of the imbalances that are happening in the body, so we can bring the body back into balance using natural herbs and supplement protocols. And let's face it, the world is the most stressed out it's ever been, even before COVID hit, the sickest it's ever been before COVID hit. And our do, go, lifestyle, stress, the silent killer, has us, burning through our minerals and vitamins and getting depleted. And then the body's struggling to find its way back into balance.
Yeah, so
and when we can support it in coming back, then we can start that healing journey. But we have to have the belief that we can do that.
Oh yeah, I want to quote our one of our co-hosts on the couch. So Irina Srurina always says, "How you name the boat is how the boat will float." And so if you claim that is what is happening in your life, then that is exactly. Our brains are hardwired to prove the statements that we put out in the world, right? So our brain, if we say, I am healthy, then our brain is going to find all of the ways that we are healthy, and it's going to continue to perpetrate that particular thing. So when you're talking about that mindset is so important. But the other thing that I want to bring up that no one has brought up so far is I have redefined, excuse me, I have redefined healthy in my life. Healthy is not just about how my actual body functions. That is not where health stops. Health extends all the way through my expressions, my habits, and my experiences in having healthy relationships and having healthy experiences and exchanges with people are also definitions of health that a lot of the times we don't actually put in that box of health. It's like, oh, well, there's health and then there's relationships, right? Or there's health and then there's how you express yourself in a different way. And there is, I think that's a disservice to us all to not actually lump all of it. It's an ecosystem that we're creating when we're really living healthy. It's not just about eating the right foods and exercising, but it's all about that like full ecosystem of connection with your health. So Bertha, I love you ladies. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Brian.
I agree. And I would throw finances in there as well. You know, it's all that we do in our life. And I fully agree. And it's what I meant earlier when I said wellness isn't just the absence of disease. Wellness is being able to thrive in all aspects of your life.
Oh, yeah.
And at any given time in our life, we might be doing better in one area than another, but that gives us the opportunity to, lift up the area where we're not doing as well while maintaining where we've already, achieved success and we know what we're doing and can keep moving forward.
Oh, yes.
I just want to
go ahead.
Okay, real quick, still on motivation. It's funny how everybody was talking and the question was how to redefine. I just wanted to make sure that we're all understanding that we have to define before we can redefine. Because if you were to say, what is health to me, all of us will have different answers. And yes, there are some foundational truths and some foundational structures that you can put in place. But what Peggy said and what Melissa said and what Andrew said, it's all different, even what Monica said, to extend it. So define what health looks like for you before you begin to try to redefine it for yourself. Take a step back. I just wanted to say that. That's what my head thought.
All right, Miss Yo, come in. All right. So as we move into getting staying inspired, if they haven't already jump started that process for you with this lovely conversation that we're having right now, I do want us to kind of share a little bit personally on what that looks like for us. Okay. So as we are kind of having this conversation, for each of you, I would love for you to share one of the ways that you've expanded your own definition of health for yourself. So anybody want to chime in first on that one?
Yo's hand up.
Turn it on. Yo's hand went up?
I'm doing the Blake Shelton move.
Oh, I can't. You froze on my side, so I can't see.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing the Blake Shelton move. So the way I've expanded health for myself is sort of what Monica was saying earlier. I used to also think health was limited to my body, my physical essence. But now I've seen and experienced the vastness of incorporating my mental health, my social health, my spiritual health, and my emotional health. So it's a full gamut of everything because that's what truly makes you whole, or what has made me whole. So I've expanded it by taking it out of just the structure of just my body. And it has been amazing. And I continue on this journey surrounded by these beautiful people. So that's my answer.
Yes. Yeah. Anybody else want to go next?
I can.
Yeah.
As some people know, I was in the corporate world for 24 years until 6 years ago. So my journey in health and wellness is really only 6 years old. And prior to that, I was the same as everybody else, raising a family and working a 60-hour-a-week corporate job, doing the best that I could. And I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And as I started my health and wellness journey, I started implementing everything that I was learning along the way. And one of the first things that I implemented and took on was that self-care is the most selfless act because it allows me to show up and give the world the best of me instead of what's left of me. And that was a game changer for me. That was a big aha. My kids were already in their late teens by then. And I was like, boy, I wish I knew this when they were little. But when I actually stopped looking after everybody else first and put myself first and put that into my calendar, that truly did allow me to show up and give the world the best of me. And from there, I could just build on it. And everything I was learning, I was implementing. I, try things on myself all the time before I, recommend to clients, et cetera, et cetera. And I walk my talk. And the way I live my life now is so different to what it was in that corporate world. And I absolutely love where I'm at. And what I also love is that this knowledge we have for life. It's not just learn it for today and then you're done with it. It's we can practice this for life. And as we continue to learn, we can always be adding on. So like something I just did recently was I bought an infrared sauna blanket. I wanted to try it out, the benefits of detoxing. I teach detoxing all the time, but adding to how else can, we support the body in detoxing. We live in a toxic world. Those toxins are coming in. It's at a point where we can no longer avoid them. Yes, we can make different choices and lower our toxic load. Part of that is detoxing. And so I bought an infrared sauna blanket to, try it out and see how that worked for me. So taking steps like that all the time, trying new things and always stepping into what more can I be doing for my body and overall wellness.
Yeah, I want to give Peggy an opportunity to answer next because I think we're going to lose her in a few minutes. So Peggy,
I wish you would have let me go before, Melissa, because I was going to say self-care. Thanks.
Sorry.
But seriously, Monica taught me this. Monica prioritizes sleep like no one I have ever met before. Like, don't mess with Monica's sleep. Like, it's for real. And I watched that for several years. And finally, I was like, sleep is something that really I know helps me because that's when your body's able to rejuvenate and do all of its work. And I know this here. And then I'm seeing Monica and I'm like, okay. And when I started prioritizing sleep, then all of a sudden I started prioritizing myself and my whole life. Like it was a weird domino effect. Like all I had to do was step out and say, no, I'm going to bed and nobody's going to make me feel bad about getting sleep. And then all of a sudden, no, I'm actually going to take a bath now, or no, I'm going to, whatever it is that I needed for me. And that's healthy. That's healthy in your relationships. That's healthy in your body. That's healthy in your mind. That's healthy in your emotion. So I still stole what you said, Melissa, but I hope I put a spin on it.
You did, and I 100% agree with you. I teach sleep as well. It's foundational to our health. Absolutely. And we're not taught how to sleep, right? We're born as babies. We already know how to sleep. So everybody thinks we know how to sleep. What people don't know is the daily habits that they have that are actually negatively impacting our sleep because we're just not taught this information. So
I was raised in a family that didn't sleep. So, I was raised that 4 hours should do you. What the heck? So
well, what's funny is Melissa stole your answer and you stole mine. So thank you for that, Peggy.
Well, I was going to leave before you could.
There's just so much alignment in the room. It's fabulous.
That's hilarious. Andrea.
Yeah, there's scraps left. No. I love having all of you guys here speaking on this because, of course, it's jazz for me. Like, woo, let's riff off of this and let's riff off of here. Yeah, I think the biggest because it was personal, wasn't the question originally?
Yes,
like what have you personally done on your journey to being more well? As a health practitioner like Melissa, I'm always trying stuff on myself so that I can recommend with some veracity and honesty, right? But I think for me, the defining moment, that pivot, came well before I embarked on my health journey, because I was sitting in St. Louis working for NPR. thinking I was having a heart attack, you guys. And I was like, oh my God. What I was in the middle of turned out to be, after much examination, because I was in my 20s, and people were like, she's a healthy person, until they took my pulse. They're like, what's going on in there? And it was a very smart endocrinologist who was like, oh, your thyroid has gone amok. And I was like, huh? My who? My what? What are you talking about? And having to begin, to Peggy's point, the journey of advocating for my body began in that moment, because there was just some very, oh, we're just going to give you some radioactive iodine and kill your thyroid. I was like, time out. Isn't it important? And they're like, oh, little one, you'll be fine. I'm like, time out. It says here it's in charge of a lot of stuff. Can you give me a minute? And I had, fortunately, already a clack of alternative health providers that I ran to and said, look, I want to keep this thing they say is kind of, they call it a thyroid. They all laughed at me at the time. Now they're really good friends. And I said, what can I do? And fortunately, I was surrounded by, I'm glad I asked the question. So taking the moment to go, wait a second, I need this gland. And boy, am I glad I kept it, right? And then who can help me? And having people give me unsolicited and solicited advice, right? And then me having, quote, the thing I'm big on, the agency to say, wait a second, I'd like to stay whole as possible and make some informed choices. And so I still have my thyroid. I turned it around so much that the endocrinologist was like, what did you just do, lady? Like, can you explain it? And he ultimately adopted one of the protocols I did in his practice with his patients, which is amazing. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there watching, there's been a pivot in your life. There's been a point at which you've had to face your maker because something's happened or something like that. The thing is, did you answer the call? You know, I think the body gives you little taps. First it's a poke, then it's a push, then it's a shove down the hill. And most time we pay attention when we're at the bottom of the hill going, how am I going to get back up? I think it's time to, my suggestion to everyone is take the prompt from the poke. It's a much gentler and easier redirect from the poke than the bottom of the well. So,
I have another way of saying that, and which is very similar again, Andrea, because of course we're so aligned. And I just heard this from someone else recently, and I absolutely love it. We all know that our body speaks to us, right? When it starts out speaking to us, as you said, it's a poke. I call it the gentle touch of a feather. And if we don't listen, we're going to get the thump of a brick. And if we still don't listen, watch out for that wrecking ball.
I like that one too. I'm going to steal that one. You know, they all work. You guys, you have to understand, when you're a health practitioner, you got to figure out ways to talk to your people, right? And really get through to them. But feather, brick, wrecking ball.
And wrecking ball.
Right there with you, girl.
Oh, yeah. So Irina is saying, I'm enjoying the show so much. I am glad I'm on the couch. I would be lost between all of you wise people.
No, you
lies.
Lies.
Right there, right in the middle.
Lies.
Exactly.
So for me, when it came to redefining my own health, it actually didn't come from a physical space, because I have experienced a healthy, actual physical body my entire life. It came from an emotional, mental space. And that really came into me really understanding the power of spirituality and the practice of spirituality. And the reason why I say that was redefining is because my spiritual practice, when I redefined what that meant, I grew up really religious, right? And so we were in church like 6 days a week. And, it was like, there was no Halloween because we were at the church, and there was no this holiday because we were at the church. It was like all of the things were church related. And that religiousness didn't really teach me a lot about spirituality, but it taught me how to practice for that. And then when I decided to go into my own spiritual practice and really redefine what that was, I realized that the spiritual practice is not for the sake of doing these things religiously for the sake of just doing them, but it actually is a mechanism to help you understand how to cope with your emotions and what things are happening around you, how to be present and stay in the moment, and how to de-stress in a lot of ways. So that stress factor that Melissa was talking about that is killing everyone, really comes down to you being able to tap into your spiritual, your emotional body. And by training it through spiritual practice, you can tap into that, and that helps your body itself relax and do what it's supposed to do. It helps your mind open up to other possibilities and solutions and answers. And that way, I then found where I had a true loop of health going around. So as I stayed not stressed out and stayed in that meditative space or stayed in that prayerful space, and instead of freaking out and tensing up and being like, oh my gosh, and everything's going wrong, but relaxing into it, it gave my brain the opportunity to actually open up to different possibilities and different options and ways to problem solve, which allowed my body to stay supporting me through that, so I didn't get sick in that process. And so what I will say for me, redefining what spirituality really means, as spirituality is the exercise for your emotional body, like the gym is for your physical body, like doing schoolwork and studying is for your mental body. By redefining that, it allowed me to have a holistic look at health in a completely different way. So that is my, since Peggy stole my other answer, that's my other answer to how I redefined my own health.
And quite a powerful one. Yep.
Exactly.
And totally
Everything I
overwhelmed.
want to say.
I know how you snuck in there the expressions, habits, and things that we've been cooking up there.
Experiences.
Good on you, mate. And it's true. I think Melissa, wouldn't you agree? Getting people to embrace that part of themselves is sometimes even harder than the food part. We can offer as many supplements and as many protocols, elixirs, potions, herbs, you name it. If the person's mind isn't receptive to taking the stress out and turning off, or even caring for themselves, like that's, I think, one of the hardest things as a practitioner is getting the person who's begging you for help to understand that the help starts with that one thing of saying, I will quiet my mind for 15 minutes a day as my, and not even know how to do it, but just to seek that peace so their mind can go, whew, thank you. So that their body can go, whew, thank you is huge. And so that was beautifully put, Monica.
It was. I totally agree, Andrea, that sometimes that's the hardest part to have people understand. Again, because it comes back to that mindset of the magic pill. Give me the magic pill that's going to cure all. But there is no magic pill that cures all, because you would have found it long before you found me if it existed, right? And so, yes, I can run labs and I can see where those imbalances are and I can recommend protocols, but it's never just the protocol. It is absolutely looking at all the other aspects of that's going on in your life, your stress, your sleep, your nutrition, your exercise, your spirituality, your connection, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so people are surprised by that because they haven't yet, redefined or possibly even defined their wellness and what it means to them. But if we don't look at those areas, all that happens is they complete the protocol. They're going to feel better, for sure. They're on the path. But where do they end up 6 months down the road?
Boomerang.
They're just back where they were, right?
Yeah.
So we have to look at all of this for true healing and lasting healing.
And you know what, Melissa? I'm sorry, Monica. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing on the fitness side. As a fitness trainer, people think it's all about the movement and the activity. But I always tell my clients when they come out to the camp, the hardest part was showing up. So because once you get out there, your body's going to do what it's able to do, but they're convinced to think like, oh, as long as I, run a marathon or I train to do this, I train to do that. The same thing with the imbalance of nutrition. They think that, oh, because I'm eating well, but I'm not moving, or I'm moving well, but I'm not eating. It's still, they're missing that one important tip of that triangle. It's up here. It starts here, which really starts here. Once the desire is met, once the desire is there and you connect the desire to the mind, If you haven't yet, you have Disney Plus. Watch Inner Workings. It's the cutest little 8-minute short, the cutest little 6-minute short that'll help you understand all that I'm trying to say in an animated way. But you start here, and when these two align, everything else will fall into place. So it's just, it still starts with the head. The hardest part is showing up.
Yes, that was definitely worth chiming in for sure. So as we just got finished staying inspired, now I would love to help us keep networking. And when we talk about networking here at Mink Life Motivation, we always talk about it in forms of being able to ask for the help that you're looking for. Most people think about networking as I'm going to go out and tell people what I do. But the benefit to being in a group of people and a network of people is being able to ask for help. And so since we have so many health professionals here, I thought it would be fun to change up the question just a little bit today and ask, what would be your recommendation, sorry for the typo, for someone to ask when they are choosing a practitioner in their health journey? So what would you recommend that someone ask when they're looking for a practitioner in their health journey? And I know I threw them off guard, so I'll give you guys a sec. While they're thinking about that thought, as you are watching this, if you have any things you wanted to share about your own, how you've redefined your health journey in sharing that, I would love to see it in the chat. But it seems like Melissa has come up with something.
Yeah, I would encourage people to ask, how do you support me on this health journey? I find there is often a gap. And even on the holistic side, there are practitioners that will read labs and say, this is what you need to do. Don't eat this, take this, exercise more, add more self-care to your day, go do it. And there's nothing more.
Yeah.
Right? It's very easy to tell people what to do, but when it comes to habit change in people's busy lives, it's very hard for them to do it. Because especially with diet, because you've eaten this way your whole life, it's your comfort, right? And our brain is charged with keeping us safe. It knows it can keep us safe in our comfort zone because here we are and we're alive, right? As soon as we start doing things differently, making new recipes, which let's face it, it takes longer. You've got to research the recipes and then you got to buy the groceries and now you have to actually follow a recipe. You're not just cooking off the top of your head. Your brain notices this and it starts going, what are you doing? This seems harder.
Do I have to do this?
Taking more time. Yeah. Do I have to do this? Do you even know what you're doing? And that's when you're like, oh yeah, this is hard. It is taking more time. I'm not even noticing any difference. So I'm going to stop, right? And it's our brain trying to keep us safe and bring us back to our comfort zone. But when we actually are supported through all of these stages, we're provided recipes, we're provided meal plans, we have contact with a practitioner that can get our questions answered, then we have the power to talk back to our brain and say, hey, I do know what I'm doing. I can get my questions answered. And you just need to bear with me because I'm going to take us to a new comfort zone and a new place of health. And that's when people stay on programs and are successful. And so we really have to have that support and be able to be in control of our brain instead of our brain being in control of us. Oh, yeah. And that's the gap that I fill when I'm working with my clients. Mm-hmm. And I love guiding them through. But there's not a lot of practitioners that do that. And so I think that's a really important question to be asking if you're that person that feels like that's the kind of support you need is, ask, what kind of support do I get? Or am I on my own? I pay this money, I do this stuff, and then I'm on my own.
Yeah, good question. Andrea, what would be the question you would recommend they ask when they're looking to be supported by a health practitioner?
Ladies, guests go first. And yes, support is by and large, when people say, oh, I did this program and this didn't happen. And I go, well, what happened? And they tell me what happened. And I go, well, how are you able to ask questions? Did you have time with the practitioner? And they're like, no, I didn't. I said, so you accepted the program and there was no backup for you, to Melissa's point. And also, asking those questions before you say yes, like it just, to me, it's like not like buying a car, but it's like any important endeavor you're going to take. There are questions you need to ask, especially if you're like, I hate to cook. I get that a lot. So I really appreciate when she's like, the brain's like, I can't do this. Ah! And I'm like, it's only for a little while. And we've got plenty of people who showed their variation in the Facebook group or something like that. They're like, okay. You can see that stress come up. And then you, as the practitioner, need to be there to help guide the way. So I totally appreciate, and even when I'm seeking my own support, I make it very clear that I want to know if I can ask questions, and if there is a mechanism, what is the way to get my questions answered in a timely way? Because absent that, I could be prone to fail, other than if I don't know how to do something. And that's so true, because your brain does go, I don't want to do that. Nope. It's a new thing. Don't want to do that. And that is the hardest part of that change process. So support, and definitely just making sure you have communication with the person that is guiding you. Is it email? What is that? Do you know you have a way to ask? Because I sometimes think, especially women, we sit and we suffer like, oh, I don't want to bother, I don't want to do this. But when you need to get your questions answered, you need to get your questions answered so you can keep moving forward. And so that support and the way it's delivered is really key. And I have refrained from purchasing things because I thought the support was going to be lacking, or they weren't going to be able to answer my questions in a timely way. And it's the quickest way to annoy me, is that I don't know which way to communicate with you. And so I'm big on, drop me a text. I let you know where you can find me and when to expect an answer by. So this is super important. So,
Yo?
Well, only one? I came up with three right then. Okay, let me see. Which one can I pick? I'm going to go with, as again, from the trainer's perspective, find out what the trainer's style is before you just say yes. I know, and I'm guilty of it. Sometimes we look at the bodies of a trainer. I would see a body and be like, oh, I'm training with him or with her because they're in shape. But then you get out there and they're a drill sergeant and they're constantly yelling at me and calling me out of my name. Or I get out there and they're just silent. And I'm like, I need you to talk to me. You can't just give me exercise and let's go. So find out what their training style is and make sure it matches what you need. You might need a drill sergeant and you don't know. So definitely have a conversation to see, how do you train? What are your methods? And then I'm just going to sneak this one in there too. Find out what they do for themselves. Put those two together. Find out their style and what they do for themselves. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of trainers out there who they don't walk that talk. And I was guilty of that. And I took myself out the game because of that. Because I want to be able to connect with my clients and know I've experienced what you're experiencing. I know what this exercise feels for you right now. I know what you got to push through to get to it. So find out their style and just make sure that you know that they're also keeping up with themselves so they can, match your energy and your effort.
Yeah. So Irina chimed in with, unfortunately, PCPs are generally taking care of way too many clients. So accountability programs, support teams are willing to work with you closely. They are the ones who are often missing people who can't get results. So, things that you guys are talking about are so key. But for me is, will you allow me to push back on the program that you're putting out for me, right? It's my life, it's my body, it's my choice, right? It's my mind. And are you going to know when I push back that, are you going to be comfortable with that? Are you going to say this just isn't going to work? And that is super important for me. Even in business, I want people in the different positions that they're sitting in and say, well, Monica, that's not necessarily the right thing when they're working with me. So I want to be able to do that thing with other people. This isn't really working for me to go, or I really want to live my life this way. And I remember specifically, I went to a doctor and I was in perfect health, right? In perfect health. And so I was having a conversation with her, and she, was not believing me when I was telling her that I do all of the things that are important in order to be healthy, right? I sleep 8 hours a day. I don't drink very often. It's usually socially. I eat healthy foods. I don't really do processed foods. We don't do a lot of chemicals. I wear makeup a week. That's a fact. And so there's a lot of things that I do to be healthy. I walk everywhere. At the time, I was literally walking everywhere. And using public transportation. So all of the things that that they would tell you in school, that is check. I meditate, like I did all of the things. And she was shocked when I came back healthy. That was a red flag for me. I got to say, that was a red flag for me. So me being able to push back and say, well, why would you think I wasn't going to be healthy? And what was your intention behind this meeting? It was super important. So being able to push back and being able to put your own agenda forth with the people who are actually your practitioners there, you're paying them to support you, even if it's through insurance. Even if it's through insurance, you are paying them to advocate for you. They're on your team. And so if they're not willing to allow you to say, I really want you to run that test. I have an inkling that this is happening in my life, or I really think that I need this kind of doctor. Can you set that up as a referral and trust that I know something about my body that you might not know? If you can't push back with your practitioners, with the people who are supporting you in your health journey, then to me, that's a super duper red flag. So that's my 2 cents, trying to hold it in with all these health people.
It's awesome. It's such a valid point.
So
I
true.
love it, Monica. For several reasons. Well, for several reasons, we are all in different states of health at any given time. Our bodies are all absolutely unique, and there is no one size fits all, right? So all of the work that we three do is customized for every single individual. But what I always love to say, several things, is one is that you are your own best doctor because you have lived in your body your whole life. And as we talked about earlier, your body talks to you, right? So when your body is talking to you and you're trying to understand what it's asking you to do differently, and you go to a doctor that runs labs and then tells you there's nothing wrong with you, or we don't know what's wrong with you, or it's all in your head. These are things clients come to me and tell me their doctors have said. That's when I recommend people get second opinions, because your body is talking to you and you need to keep listening. And if someone's telling you to stop listening to your body, that's a huge red flag, right? You should be able to push back and say, no, you know what? I'd really like this test. We have to absolutely advocate for ourselves. And I know it's hard in this day and age. I know I've gone to my doctor looking for baseline testing just to see, push the system a little bit. I want all 4 thyroid markers, for instance. Andrea, you're talking about your thyroid before, because we know that just the test for TSH doesn't necessarily tell the whole story, right? But in an effort to save money, they'll just run the one test. And if it's out of whack, then they might run the next 2. But you don't get the early warning signs of what else can be going wrong, because your free T3 might not be converting properly, but your TSH can still be normal.
That was Greek.
Until it isn't normal, right?
That was Greek.
I know.
You started speaking a different language.
So your different markers, in the other tests can be out of range, while that TSH, the first main marker they will run for your thyroid, is normal. So you're not getting the early warning signs, but your body might be talking to you and giving you the early warning signs. And so you have to truly be able to, push back. Don't just accept it when they say no, because sometimes that decision has nothing to do with your health or trying to help you with your health. It has to do with saving money.
Facts.
Conversation right now. Yeah.
We could talk about this all day, I swear. But unfortunately, it's my job to help us move this party along a little bit so we get out of here at a decent hour. So it's time for us to gain a little knowledge. And this is the point in the show where we ask our co-hosts and guests to help us with just pick one tip on how to stay healthy as an entrepreneur. And I'm going to start with Andrea. She's been going last all day today. So Andrea, what is your one tip for staying healthy as an entrepreneur?
Well, my favorite tip that I like to pass on to all of my entrepreneurial friends is, what are you doing to quiet your mind? And how often are you doing it? So it's a big topic. And as somebody who is a recoverer mind chatterbox, like it's super important to have that space in your life practice, or like if you work out, if you have something, it's like, what do you have for your, Monica talked about it, soul calming time, your mental calming time, whatever you want to call it, depending on your religious inclinations. But there needs to be a meditative like time in the day to just calm the whole system. And I think that helps you stay on, to be able to give back to all the people that answer to you as a entrepreneur, as a director, leader of your business. You need that the most.
Oh, yes, for sure. And Yo?
Oh, my advice would be to find a rhythm in all those areas. A lot of people use the word balance, but balance tends to lead towards perfection, and nobody can be that. So find a rhythm between your mental state, as Andrew said, and then Ms. Melissa keeps saying the nutritional state, and as I've chimed in for your movement state, your movement. So find a rhythm between all those areas and make yourself whole.
Oh, yeah. And Melissa?
I'm going to say, don't try and do it alone. You probably have a business coach. You probably have a social media coach. You know, get yourself a health coach, get yourself support, because then you can step into being guided, and it's so much easier. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time when you are trusting in the process and being guided. It takes a lot of time when you're having to do the research and try to figure it all out on your own. So the fastest way to get there in anything is always with working with an expert coach. And so hire yourself a coach. Recognize it's your greatest asset. You can't build your business without your health.
And I'm going to do the one tip, which is sleep. Get some sleep. If it's going wrong with the day, sucks. Your body has a built-in reset mechanism called sleep. If you can't figure out a solution, if you are toiling away over and over and over again on the same problem, put it off for the next day. Get some sleep and hit it first thing off of a fresh brain. Sleep has been the miracle drug for this pandemic for me. And I was already a good sleeper, but the pandemic has allowed me to really kind of tap into the power of sleep. So I would say, you want to be healthy as an entrepreneur, you're going to want to put off going to sleep so you can get something done. But I actually recommend that you go ahead and sleep early and wake up earlier to get that thing done instead, because you'll be surprised what your mind can do when you give it some time to rest and sleep, where your body can support you, your mind can support you, and you will be less cranky, I promise. So get some sleep. So those are our tips.
I left sleep for you. I was going to say sleep, but I knew you.
I left it for her too. I knew it was coming.
I was like, Yo's going to do movement. Monica's going to do sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Melissa and I were like, I don't know. We could say a lot of things. So you said the one thing, another thing I thought of. I was like, yeah, okay. That's perfect.
Yeah. You know, it's sleep has been that thing that eludes most entrepreneurs. And when people are like, you get so much done. Oh my gosh, do you ever sleep? And I'm like, yes, 8 hours a day, faithfully. Faithfully. And when I don't get sleep, it's obvious to everyone around me. Oh, clearly Monica hasn't slept. You should sleep. You should sleep.
Sleep makes us so much more resilient to stress. And when we get out of that state of overwhelm, we can be so much more productive, because in that state of overwhelm, we're not getting anything done.
All I'm saying is I will happily shut it down at 6 p.m. so that I could wake up with a fresh brain and get right back in happily. And that is the crazy that I have demonstrated over this pandemic, which is why Peggy said what she said. She's like, I literally watched this lady go, nope, I'm going to sleep. I don't care about anything. Any of this that you're talking about right now, I'm going to sleep. And that's because I learned that trick when I was in college. I was not a crammer. I could not stay up all night and cram information in and then wake up and still have it. Because the minute I went to sleep, my brain would reset all of it and be like, we don't want none of this. And I'd wake up the next day and I'm like, oh no, right? So instead, I learned that in college, if you go to sleep early and you give yourself like 3 or 4 hours before you actually need the information, then you can just like work right through it. And then your body just, your brain just keeps going in that same trajectory. And then as soon as I get my test, I would write all the things that I think I might forget on the side of the, on the side of the margin. So it wasn't cheating, right? But I was like, write it all down.
Brained up. Oh my
And
God.
then prepared to go through all the other paces that they were going to put me through. But like, so, you know, I've perfected this over 30 some odd years, that sleep really is the key in a lot of things. Well, this is the part of the show where we dive into our announcements. It gives us an opportunity to figure out how you can stay connected to these amazing people and what they got going on. So as our guest, Melissa, please share, what do you have going on in your world and how can our viewers connect with you?
So viewers can connect with me through my website, which is yourguidedhealthjourney.com. What I have going on is I've just launched a YouTube channel, and I am hoping I need to get to the 100 subscribers so that I can brand it, etc. Maybe I can drop the link to that in the chat here quickly, Monica, to put that out.
Mhm.
I've been doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I've been doing 1-minute health hacks. So just bringing that education to people of little tips that you can add into your life on a regular basis. And it's just taking baby steps and building on them. And that allows you to just, you know, create more health in your life. So those are all on my YouTube channel. And I also have a podcast called Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call. So another place where I offer free education on your health. And I do 2 solo shows and 2 interview shows with guests every month. And you can find that on your favorite podcast listening device.
Perfect. Yo, what do you got going on in your world?
I have expanded my in-person fitness sessions to incorporate virtual, so you can come work out with me twice a week in the evenings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have the post in the Mink Life University platform. You can see it there. And you can also check me out at loveyourlife.me. Loveyourlife.me to see what I'm all about and sign up and work out with me.
Awesome. Andrea, what do you got going on in your world?
Well, I can't find the link. That's so me and technology sometimes, which is a shocker. But I have a class about to start, a new boot camp of sorts. It's sort of like, I know we're all sick and tired of being sick and tired. So it's called Get Up and Go 30. It's a 30 to 45 days, 6 weeks boot camp where we're gonna just lean in and have daily accountability with me via text, via little messages. I'm doing it myself. So I'm really excited to have people join in with me starting in the week of the 18th. And I will re-put all this information in the comments below this today, because sadly I was busy sedating kind of my dog, making him a little more mellow so he wouldn't bark, and I was a little late getting into my chair, so I don't have the link right this second, but I will put it in there because I'm really excited about having people join me, because I'm going to be doing it. I'll be talking about it on my Facebook Live right after this, so hopefully people will come on in and join in with me, so it'll be fun. And Melissa, I'll be sure to subscribe to your channel because I think I saw one the other day. I was like, oh, these are so cute. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. And as you know, we always have things going on in the Mink Life universe. In our communities, we have the incubator going on, which is so fantastic. We have courses happening on a weekly basis. And we also have our next global virtual conferences. And that is what I want to talk to you about. I know thinking about, so what's next? Well, it's time for you to actually level up. And we have pulled together 4 conferences that are going to blow your mind in 4 different time zones. Yes, 4 time zones. We were talking about Los Angeles. We're talking about Sydney, Johannesburg, and London. And tickets are on sale now. We still have spots for speakers. So if you are looking to speak in Johannesburg or London, love to have a conversation with you as soon as possible. So go to nextglobalvirtual.com and hit dynamic speaker. And that is how you can connect with us. At this point in the show, it is that time, y'all. It is time to say goodbye. But before we say goodbye, I want to have a special thanks to my guest and host. So thank you, Anna, Peggy, Yo, and Melissa for being here and having this amazing conversation about expanding your health. And I want you all to remember that you have the power to activate the vision within. That is our show today. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you like the show, please share, because sharing is caring. We will see you all next week where we talk about expanding your wealth. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.